I'm just honestly not sure if the Disc Golf Pro Tour actually will ever figure it out. Maybe because it's too hard. Maybe because they're not trying. Maybe because, we would be going somewhere in peak season where it's more expensive. Maybe we'll never know. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Obviously by the title of this video, you're probably wondering what I'm talking about. So if you followed disc golf at all over the last however many seasons, you've noticed that we have more weather delays, more lightning delays, more canceled rounds than any other sport in history probably. And I just want to know when we're going to figure it out as a sport. Not because of, oh, poor us players or whatever. So we're getting more and more money into the, pot here. And we're getting more and more big sponsors. Well, what those big sponsors want is exposure. So the more money that LL Bean or Johnsonville or any of these people are putting in, the more that they want the round and the event and, everything as a whole to be exposed. They want to probably come there and vend and sell their products or give their products away to new people or potential customers or people who've never even seen, ever heard of their product before. So what happens when these people sponsor these events for, 50, 60, 70, 100, couple hundred thousand, and hopefully in the future, millions of dollars, they want exposure. So the reason that Rolex sponsors, golf for, tens of millions of dollars throughout the year is they're going to get probably 4 rounds of golf, a good probably finish on a beautiful course, beautifully filmed. So to them, that product is worth something. In disc golf, we're canceling rounds, adding in cuts mid-round for these guys. They don't know what's going on. They don't have a clue. They're out there playing, and they get an email saying, oh, I finished 1 stroke out of the imaginary cut that they just made up, and now I don't even get to play tomorrow at an event that shouldn't have had a cut. So my problems with this are, one, we have the PGA Tour, a billion-dollar organization, right? Literally, that's what it's worth. And they don't have canceled rounds. Of course, they have weather delays, but not very often. And, most of their events finish on time, finish as planned. And we can't control the weather. But the PGA Tour has something figured out. This week, they're in Twin Cities, Minnesota, 80 degrees on the dot. Not so bad. When we were in Minnesota a couple weeks ago, it was 100 degrees. When at Mid-America, since it's been on the Pro Tour, 2 of the years we didn't even get to play at Harmony Bends because the course was flooded. And then last year we played there. And then this year they're having this debacle. 2 years in a row we had our problem at Des Moines Challenge. Emporia, they had us out there playing in the in a tornado pretty much. And then now all of a sudden they moved the date and there's no wind. And everyone that's local, oh yeah, there's no wind in the spring here. It's like, well, why aren't we scheduling the events that we're playing to actually be at a conducive time to have the players and the sponsors and also the event staff? The Disc Golf Pro Tour goes there and sets up all these assets and sets up the entire course. And then they have to deal with a debacle and people being upset and complaining and whining preceding that after they just worked their butts off to get the course ready, to run the event, to do all this stuff. And then the local group, obviously there's 2 separate groups. Some of you guys may or may not know this, but the Disc Golf Pro Tour obviously doesn't just run the event. There's a local group there weeks and weeks, months, years before, getting the course ready, making sure it's dialed in, making sure, all types of stuff. So it's not just the Pro Tour. So you have pretty much 2 groups of people getting the course ready, getting the event ready, doing all that. And then you have a 3rd group of people, which is the players. And we can't seem to get past figuring out how to be outside and play a sport. And to me, it's just really getting annoying because before I understood there's not that much money in disc golf, so we can't be at the nicest place at the nicest time because maybe it costs too much to get a hotel or rental car, Airbnb, because the Daytona 500's in town or whatever else is also using up that area at that time, so people up the prices. but just from a fan's perspective, this year in Emporia, they did the same thing to us. Hotels are more expensive. Nathan Queen, I think, commented about the RV park being like 3 times the price that it has been years prior. So they're catching on to us as well. But overall, I really just want to focus on, like, we have a governing, not a governing body of us, but we have a huge body that relies on multi-million-dollar sponsors, players that are worth millions and hundreds of millions, and these athletes that go out there and get to compete in the best conditions every single week. And the sponsors and the event staff of those events get to reap 4 rounds of coverage, all this stuff, and good publicity. So what's happening is, DMC is canceled, this is canceled, that's canceled, blah, blah, blah. People are upset that they're not getting the rounds in on Disc Golf Network. People are upset on the tickets they bought they didn't get to go watch. People are upset, and taking the player's side when they're complaining on social media and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, it is becoming a bad look, I feel like. And I feel like especially for a bigger set of sponsors. Like I said, imagine, we go play Des Moines Challenge next year and whatever, Rolex is in town. And, hey, we want to throw $500,000 at this tournament. We see the exposure that, USDGC got or whatever caught their eye. And now here we are playing a 2-round tournament in a windstorm. And, there's a tornado warning and lightning and this and that. And now what the exposure and the views and the vibe they thought they were going to get from this, they're robbed of. But not because it's their fault. And I know the Pro Tour cannot control the weather. I'm not saying they're in the office turning on the freaking rain and the lightning and the wind. But, there's places you can go that minimize those things to an extent. And like I said, I'm not trying to be delusional here. You don't want to go play in Oklahoma in hurricane season. Seems obvious. We don't play Memorial in Vegas right now, middle of summer. Why? Because it's 115. So wouldn't that be silly to go play that event in 115-degree weather? Of course. So we play it in the end of February, beginning of March. Perfect. Why can't we do that for the actual weather? There's trends. There's things that people know in the area to be true. And there's places that storm more in the summer. There's places that are more windy in the summer. People know what their demographic of their hometown and their tournament is like. And if we're going to be driving all over the country or flying all over the country or however you get to every tournament or however you guys at home want to watch, there's a lot of moving parts that go into this in the sense of people traveling, people flying, people being here, being there, deciding what events to skip. And I just think that we have the PGA Tour above us, theoretically above us, playing in places, and like I said, you don't see them having these issues very often. So why don't we look at the PGA Tour and where they go from place to place, and we try to do as close as possible. I get that Augusta National. We can't go play on Augusta National, but we can play at IDGC. Okay, they kind of match those events up. Respect. Let's go. Waste Management and the Memorial within a couple weeks of each other. Respect. But there's a reason people aren't playing disc golf or golf tournaments really in Arizona in 115-degree heat, because you'll die. So why do they want to send people to a course at Mid-America Open that floods and becomes unplayable 3 out of 4 years? It just, at some point, something needs to change. I'm not a philosopher, so maybe I'm misquoting this, but the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So why don't we start adapting as a tour and as players and as people and as fans, you guys speaking up and saying, hey, listen, this year, I know it's only $6 or $12 if you're, not a PDGA member or whatever. I'm not saying people are losing money, but, people want to get the product they're paying for, whether you're the sponsor, whether you're the fan, and whether you're a player. We're going to practice and pay an entry fee and be part of this tour as well, and there's people this week at Mid-America Open who got an email in the middle of the round or just shortly after they finish saying, hey, there's a cut. Sadly, you're not playing tomorrow. And, we have a Disc Golf Pro Tour players group that, isn't public information, so I can't say or show you guys any of this stuff, but people are very, very upset. And mind you, it is the people that missed the cut. I'm sure the person winning the tournament, isn't too worried about this cut line. But still, we're making up rules as we go. We're at a place that's historically been providing bad weather, course closures, all that kind of stuff. And at what point does the governing body, whether PDGA or Disc Golf Pro Tour, and whoever's making our schedule, try to fit this schedule around the country and around the world so we aren't having a crisis every single week. You know, again, I'm not acting like I know better, or I should be designing the tour, or I should be whatever. You know, and I'm just voicing the opinion and trying to get the awareness out that, like, hopefully someone hears this that is in charge of all that stuff. And hopefully you fans and you people watching this can be like, hey, maybe it's time to look into our scheduling. You know, at work, you know, wherever you might work, if there's 100 employees, they don't schedule all 100 employees to come at the same time to make Jamba Juice. Just not how it works. Everyone has a day and hours, and so it works cohesively, and people have days off, and not everyone's in one spot, and it's a bad work environment. So part of owning a business or a tour is scheduling things to be cohesive and to work together in order for the best result, not only for the workers, but also the customers, which the workers and the customers. And like I said, also, I feel bad for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. They put a lot of time, effort, energy into every single one of these events. Having set there, having snacks there, having water there, preparing the course, putting all the assets out on the course, taking them in the course, and driving them to the next event. You know, nobody is like, has it easy here. You know, I'm not trying to act like, oh, poor the players, poor this, poor that. Like, this sucks for everybody. So since this sucks for everybody, and not just one group of people or 1% of people, why don't we find a solution to not have this be an issue every single weekend? And I can say that because the last few events I could think of, there's been lightning delays, possible cancellations. I mean, heck, United States Disc Golf Championship, the year Jeremy Colling won, the final round was canceled. And again, you can't control a hurricane. And I'm not saying that, the USDC should be whenever. I'm just saying that that's an instance where most of the other times at USDC we've had pretty good weather. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, and it kind of ends the season where it needs to end. I understand that nothing can be perfect. And I understand that even the PGA Tour, they have rain delays, they have, lightning, they have all that stuff. But more times than not, they don't. More times than not, we do. So at some point, right, we have to change something. So let me know what you guys think on this. And I know I'm a little passionate, but still, this is, our job, this is our livelihood, and I want disc golf to create a platform and create something that big sponsors and people want to buy into. I don't want them to think, oh, this or oh, that, because at the end of the day, the product that we're putting out there, and, the more times that the commentators say, oh, here's the, Mid-America Open presented by Rolex, the more Rolex is going to be happy. And when they finally jump into the sport, and now we're at an event like Mid-America Open, and it just always gets canceled, or like I said, Des Moines Challenge, one of the biggest payouts ever, and one of the biggest payouts for a 3-round event, which happened to be a 2-round event. So, Gannon Burr played 2 rounds of disc golf and won $12,000. So event that should have good coverage, good press, all of that stuff, got overshadowed by players being upset about the cause of the lightning delay. Fans being upset they didn't get to watch like they should have because they bought tickets and didn't get to see it. And, people being upset at home, not being able to watch on video. So I think if we're trying to create a brand here, and a strong brand and a safe brand, I think we need to start looking at some type of scheduling change in order to get us further down the road. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully there's no more things like this in disc golf for me to talk about, and I could lay low for a minute. My elbow, feeling really, really good. As of now, I'm hoping to start practicing here in the next week and a half, 2 weeks. Just little shots, get back into it. I've already done a little bit of putting, but I've been trying to take it really easy. So hopefully, USCDC, I'll see you guys. Until then, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.